Hi guys, today I'll be showing what Gumout all-in-one system cleaner did to my engine after I tried using it to clean out my entire fuel system. I'm particularly focused on how much carbon the product can clean from the combustion chamber of this 2017 Accord, and I'll be using a bore scope camera to inspect before and after footage of the combustion chamber. Now let's get this. The engine of this car had recently started pinging or knocking when the car is in drive with my foot on the brakes and the AC compressor kicks in. Let's listen. Although engine knock can be caused by a compressor that is on its way out, this sounded too early to be a compressor issue, and I would expect the knock to increase with RPM if this was coming from the AC compressor. Engine knock can be caused by a whole lot of things: low octane or poor quality fuel, carbon buildup in the combustion chamber, air fuel issues, weak spark plugs, incorrect engine timing, and failure of the knock sensor. Engine knock is dangerous because if left untreated, it can actually cause mechanical damage to the engine. I decided to rule out low octane fuel as the cause of engine knock and added STP octane booster to the gas tank. However, the pinging continued, and I then decided to inspect and clean out carbon buildup from the combustion chamber using this Gumout all-in-one cleaner, which claims to clean the combustion chamber amongst other things. Be sure to stay to the end of the video where I'll also listen again for the knocking noise. Let's see whether Gumout will be able to resolve this. Next, I removed the engine cover, the ignition coils, the spark plug, and went in with this wireless bore scope camera. Cylinder 1. You can observe a significant amount of carbon buildup shown in the center of the piston. However, also significant are non-carbon deposits. Carbon is black in color, and I judge this whitish brown stuff to be impurities in the fuel as well as any of the oil vapors that may have made it into the combustion chamber through the PCV system. You can also see that there are several layers of these deposits. I can observe at least 3 different layers. The story was quite similar across all the other cylinders. Very important is to note that complete combustion of hydrocarbons produces water and carbon dioxide. However, no combustion process is perfect. Incomplete combustion will produce 2 undesirable products, carbon and carbon monoxide. We have our before and baseline pictures, putting things back together. I fill up the gas tank, dump in the Gumout all-in-one, and reset the trip meter. In the spirit of adding some Italian tuning, I did a lot of jackrabbit starts and tried to keep the engine revs as high as possible. 300 plus miles later, I'm at empty. Time to inspect. Cylinder 1 has its piston almost at the top of its stroke, and you can see that some of the previous brownish impurities have been burnt off. We can also observe this new shiny carbon that has been freshly laid around the center of the piston. Keep in mind that the impurities we saw before would need to be first combust or burnt off before it can be removed from the combustion chamber. Just to state that in case you're wondering why the wetness, cylinder 1 may have just received this injection of fuel prior to the spark when I shut off the engine. Also, Gumout feels a bit oily, so I would imagine that it lengthens the time it takes for fuel to evaporate. Cylinder 2 on the other hand was much improved and had burned through the deposits in a number of areas to expose shiny piston tops. Cylinder 3 was quite similar to cylinder 2, while the 4th cylinder looked very much like cylinder 1. It was at this point that I recalled not correctly following the instructions on the product. Directions say to add Gumout to an almost empty fuel tank prior to refilling. I did the opposite. Because of this, plus I hadn't gotten the result I was looking for, I decided to do another round of Gumout. This time I added the product to an almost empty fuel tank and filled up. I also tried to drive as much as possible in the high revs, wide open throttle. In addition, I embarked on 2 highway trips, which together totaled over 130 miles. This round of cleaning saw more improvements in cylinder 1 and 4, as well as in cylinders 2 and 3. Particularly in cylinders 1 and 4, you can observe that the shiny metal in the center of the piston has been exposed. However, in a previous carbon cleaning video, I had observed the most reduction in carbon deposits after running a clean tank of gas with no additives. Because of this, I filled up the tank again without any Gumout and then drove the tank to almost empty. Here's the full before and after footage compared. You can see that across all the cylinders, much of the deposits, especially in the center of the piston, has cleared, and you can now see the shiny metal of the piston. There's still some carbon buildup around the edges and some more deposits needing to be burnt off. Also, more importantly, the engine knocking is gone. Let's listen. Here's the before. And here's the after. This is definitely proof of the cleaning and proves that the pinging or knocking was due to the buildup of deposits. That said, I'm really in pursuit of getting the carbon down to the barest minimum. Because Gumout says you can only use this in 3000 miles, I'll be using a different carbon cleaning product which can be used more frequently. I should also mention that I've changed my gas station, as poor quality fuel definitely had something to do with this. Hope this has been helpful. Like, share, comment and subscribe if you've loved this, and catch you on the next one. Peace!